Hi, my name is Ben Dre Thompson and today I'm doing a recap of Never Have I Ever Season 1 Episode 1, a pilot which is full of laughs. Never Have I Ever is a teen comedy from Netflix, opens with hilarity, pathos, and drama. So without further ado, let's recap the pilot episode of the show. In the first episode of Never Have I Ever, Devi Vishwakumar, who happens to be the protagonist of this teen show, had a plan on putting a disastrous past behind her to focus on a bright and exciting future. But she also needs to overcome her own anger, insecurities, and the fact that high school kids just suck. Devi's parents, Nalini and Mohan, arrived in the US hoping to live the American dream. They're definitely doing that through their beloved daughter Devi, who is extremely intelligent, always in the top 2 in her class, with several other talents under her belt, and generally, a good, loving child, who nobody in school paid any attention to. Devi's dad Mohan had an unexpected heart attack during Devi's recital and died. Heartbroken Devi, not knowing how to cope with the loss, had the psychosomatic reaction of losing the ability to walk. Devi went from being just another student in the school to being the one everyone stared at because she'd lost her father and her mobility. Devi had to be in a wheelchair to make it easier for her to navigate her movement, but this also gave everyone an excuse to single her out. Things got worse for Devi when her good-looking cousin, Kamala, travels from India for her PhD and moves in with Devi's mum to help her take care of Devi. The garbage bins have dents from the number of neighbors riding their bikes into them because they're distracted by Kamala's beauty. Things started changing for Devi. Devi has had her eye on Paxton Halyoshida for years. He's good looking, he has abs, he isn't the smartest around because he keeps on repeating sophomore year, but Devi still wants this boy. And it's because of this Paxton guy that Devi regains the use of her legs. Well, Paxton doesn't really have anything to do with it, but on an otherwise ordinary day, Devi was so desperate to catch a glimpse of him that she overcomes her mental block and stands right up from her wheelchair. It was day 1 of sophomore year and Devi had a plan. She and her best friends, Fabiola and Eleanor, decided they are going to stop being the nobodies of school. They're going to change their style and get themselves boyfriends. Devi has already matched themselves to the guys who will be their boyfriends. Fabiola was to romance Alex Gomez, solely because he has a hot face. Fabiola isn't a fan of the plan because Alex is far too short for her taste. For Eleanor, Devi has chosen Boris Kozlov, the good-looking Russian exchange student who eats entire onions like they're apples. Devi herself has also picked Jonah Sharp, the very cool, not yet out of the closet gay classmate, but she plans to be his beard until she finally gets Paxton's eye. And so, the mission begins. So not so fast, Devi's mission goes off the rails sooner than she could ever have imagined. Despite dressing up in super high heels and a short skirt, Devi couldn't manage to impress Jonah, primarily because she falls while wearing the said heels and cuts her leg, grossing out everyone around her. Fabiola doesn't quite get the dressing cool memo and turns up in a button-up t-shirt and trousers. Well, Fabiola is the kind of girl who thinks the janitor telling her she looks like his favorite nephew is a compliment. On the flip side is Eleanor, who has dressed up as her great-grandmother's ghost reincarnated. Devi's day got worse in the history class, where she was up against Ben Gross, turns into a nightmare. Their teacher specifically asks Devi and Ben not to be overly competitive. They fail miserably and get sent to the principal's office for after-school punishments. While completing their punishment task, Devi and Ben come across Eleanor and a boy happily making out. Turns out, Eleanor has had a boyfriend for quite a while now, and Fabiola knew about it. Devi was heartbroken. Perhaps she's the only one who's not cool. So she took some time to speak to her therapist. After a brief chat with her therapist, Devi comes to the conclusion that getting a boyfriend should not be a priority for her after the year she's had. Instead, Devi decides to tackle her desires head-on. She waits for Paxton after his swimming session and asks him to have a physical relationship with her. No romance or commitment. Surprise, surprise. Paxton is totally up for the idea and agrees to meet up with Devi for an encounter. Devi can't believe her plan worked, but it looks like her life may be heading in the right direction at last. If you weren't sure what to expect from Never Have I Ever, the opening episode clearly demonstrates that this is a show that will subvert expectations. Devi is charming and relatable. One instantly connects with her from the opening scene where she's praying to several versions of Shiva to help her go to a party with drugs and alcohol and to get a boyfriend. Getting good grades is last on her list. The diversity on this show is admirable. Devi's friends, teachers, and classmates cover the spectrum of ethnicities, which reiterates the importance of diversity behind the scenes. With such a strong and fun pilot, the rest of the series looks set to be a joyful ride.